Listen to this. The laws of personal growth are not hidden in a secret place. They are written into your everyday life, into the way you speak to yourself, into the way you respond when you feel pressed, into the way you rise after disappointment. You do not need to become someone else before growth can begin. You only need to begin where you are. Your heart already knows that staying the same has a cost. The quiet part of you knows there is more peace, more wisdom, more freedom waiting beyond the habits that keep you small. Breathe with me for a moment. Growth begins when you stop waiting for life to become easier before you become stronger. The moment you choose honesty over denial, you step onto a new path. The moment you choose patience over panic, you make room for your mind to settle. The moment you choose responsibility over blame, you reclaim your power. These choices may seem ordinary, but they are the first laws of becoming. What you practice shapes what you carry. What you repeat becomes familiar. What becomes familiar becomes your life unless you choose otherwise. Remember this truth. Every seed grows in silence before it shows fruit in the light. Your life is no different. You may be doing the unseen work of becoming, and it may feel slow, but slow is not empty. Slow is often where roots deepen. Slow is where trust becomes real. Slow is where you learn not to depend on applause to know your value. Do not rush the quiet seasons just because they do not look impressive. Many of the strongest lives were formed in hidden places where no one was clapping, only learning, waiting, and becoming. The first law of growth is this. You must tell yourself the truth. Not a cruel truth, not a shaming truth, but a clear truth. If something is draining you, name it. If a habit is keeping you tired, name it. If a fear is making your decisions for you, name it. If you have been postponing your own healing, name it. Truth does not wound you when it is used with kindness. Truth gives you a map. Truth helps you stop wandering in circles. Truth shows you what needs care, what needs discipline, and what needs to be released. The second law is this: you must become teachable. A teachable heart does not pretend to know everything. It listens. It adjusts. It learns from feedback without collapsing in shame. It learns from mistakes without turning into bitterness. It learns from wise voices without feeling threatened. The Creator has placed in you the ability to grow wiser, but wisdom requires humility. Humility is not self-hate. Humility is clarity. It says, I'm still learning. I am willing to be corrected. I am willing to improve. I am willing to change what no longer serves a healthy life. You may have thought strength means never struggling. It does not. Strength means you keep choosing what is right even while you are still becoming skilled at it. You may stumble, but you return. You may forget, but you remember. You may feel tired, but you do not surrender to exhaustion as if it were your identity. This is one of the hidden laws of growth. Progress is rarely dramatic. More often it is made of small recoveries. A strong life is not built by one perfect moment. It is built by repeated returns to what is true. The third law is attention. What you give your attention to will shape your inner world. If you feed your mind with fear, fear will grow loud. If you feed your mind with comparison, dissatisfaction will grow loud. If you feed your mind with hope, with beauty, with truth, with stillness, those things will grow loud. Attention is not neutral. It is a form of planting. Be careful what you water. Be careful what you replay in your mind. Be careful what you let speak longest inside you. The life you experience is often the life you keep attending to. Listen to this. Many people say they want growth, but they keep feeding the version of themselves that stays comfortable. Growth asks for new patterns. New patterns feel strange before they feel natural. Drinking water when you're used to caffeine feels strange. Going to sleep earlier feels strange. Saying no when you usually say yes feels strange. Facing a hard conversation feels strange. But strange does not mean wrong. Sometimes strange means you're leaving an old room and entering a healthier one. The old room may feel familiar, but the new room is where air can move again. The fourth law is consistency. Change does not usually arrive as a thunderclap. It arrives through what you repeat. Small choices become habits. Habits become character. Character becomes direction. direction becomes destiny. So do not despise the tiny daily act. One honest sentence, one steady breath, one page of reflection, one choice to stop speaking harshly to yourself, one walk when your body needs movement, one meal that gives your body care, one pause before reacting. These may seem small, but they are not small to your future. They're the quiet architecture of a life that can hold more peace. There's a reason your soul resists being rushed. Growth that is forced often breaks what it was meant to strengthen. Gentle growth lasts longer. Gentle growth allows your nervous system to trust the process. Gentle growth lets your heart catch up with your choices. You do not need to overhaul everything in a single day. You need enough honesty to begin, enough patience to continue, and enough grace to keep going when the path is uneven. The laws of personal growth are not cruel. They are kind. They ask for steady movement, not perfect speed. The fifth law is boundaries. A life without boundaries leaks energy in every direction. You cannot grow well if everything has access to you. Not every voice deserves your agreement. Not every invitation deserves your yes. Not every demand deserves your attention. A boundary is not a wall against love. It is a doorway that protects what matters. It says your peace is valuable. Your time is valuable. Your attention is valuable. Your emotional life is valuable. When you honor boundaries, you are not becoming cold. You are making room for what can actually nourish your growth. Breathe with me for a moment. You may have spent a long time trying to be easy for everyone. That is a tiring way to live. It can make you lose sight of what you need, what you believe, and what you are becoming. The moment you stop living by other people's unfinished expectations, you begin to find yourself. That finding is not selfish. It is necessary. Growth becomes difficult when you keep bending toward every pressure. It becomes possible when you start standing in the center of your own truth with calm and kindness. The sixth law is responsibility. Personal growth becomes real when you stop waiting for someone else to rescue you from every pattern. Support is good. Guidance is good. Community is good. But the inner work remains yours. Your healing, your discipline, your decisions, your habits, your honesty, these are yours to carry. That is not a burden meant to shame you. It is a dignifying truth. You're not powerless. You're participating in your own becoming. Every time you take responsibility with humility, you strengthen the ground beneath your feet. Remember this truth. Blaming others may offer temporary relief, but it keeps your life locked. Responsibility opens the door. Responsibility says, I may not have chosen everything that happened to me, but I can choose what I do next. I can choose how I respond. I can choose what I feed. I can choose what I release. I can choose how I build. This is one of the most freeing laws of growth. When you reclaim your next step, you reclaim your future. You move from reaction into intention, and intention changes everything. The seventh law is patience with process. You do not plant a seed and pull it up every hour to check whether it has grown. Yet many people do that with their own lives. They keep checking, doubting, comparing, and worrying because they cannot see immediate change. But growth often begins below the surface. What is hidden is not wasted. What is hidden is forming. You may be learning resilience before you learn confidence. You may be learning honesty before you learn peace. You may be learning self-respect before you learn joy. Process is sacred. The Creator has placed in you a capacity to become more spacious inside. That means you can learn to hold disappointment without collapsing. You can learn to hold uncertainty without panicking. You can learn to hold success without becoming inflated. You can learn to hold correction without becoming ashamed. Spaciousness is a sign of maturity. It means your soul is no longer crowded by every passing feeling. It means you're able to respond instead of react. It means you're less ruled by urgency and more guided by wisdom. This is growth with depth, not just appearance. Listen to this. Comparison is one of the greatest thieves of growth. It convinces you that your pace is too slow, your gifts are too small, your progress is too invisible. But comparison only looks sideways. Growth looks inward and upward. It asks whether you are more honest than you were last month, more patient than you were last season, more grounded than you were last year. That is the measure that matters. You're not in a race against other people. You're in a long becoming. Your only real task is to keep moving toward wholeness. The laws of growth also include grief. Some things must be released for you to become who you are meant to be. You may need to grieve an old identity. You may need to grieve the version of yourself that survived by pleasing everyone. You may need to grieve the comfort of habits that numbed you. Grief is not a sign that you are failing. It is often a sign that your heart is clearing space. Let yourself feel what leaves. Let yourself honor what no longer fits. Then step forward lighter, wiser, and more alive. Breathe with me for a moment. There is no shame in outgrowing what once kept you safe. There is no shame in realizing a pattern is too costly. There is no shame in saying, "This no longer fits my spirit." Growth is not betrayal. Growth is not rejection of the past. Growth is the honoring of a deeper truth that has emerged inside you. A child needs different things from an adult. A wounded heart needs different care than a healed heart. A maturing soul needs different conditions than a frightened one. Change can be holy. The eighth law is focus. Scattered attention creates scattered results. If you try to grow in 10 directions at once, you may end up exhausted. Focus is not about making life smaller. It is about making your energy more useful. Choose one area that most needs care. Choose one habit that most needs strengthening. Choose one boundary that most needs protection. When you give your attention clearly, the work becomes less chaotic. Growth does not require you to do everything today. It asks you to do the right things with care, repeat them, and let time do its work. You may have waited for a huge sign before changing. Often the sign is smaller than you expect. It may be the feeling of tiredness after repeating the same mistake. It may be the quiet relief you feel when you finally speak honestly. It may be the peace that shows up when you stop forcing a path. Do not ignore these signals. They are part of the guidance written into your life. The inner world speaks before the outer world changes. Listen carefully. Your soul has a way of telling you where life is opening and where it is closing. The ninth law is self-respect. You cannot build a healthy life while treating yourself as disposable. Speak to yourself with more care. Keep your promises to yourself. Stop making your own needs invisible. Self-respect is not arrogance. It is alignment. It says you matter enough to be treated with dignity, including by you. If you repeatedly abandon your own limits, your heart will learn that its voice does not count. But when you begin to honor yourself, something beautiful happens. Your energy steadies. Your choices become clearer. Your whole life begins to breathe differently. Remember this truth. Growth does not mean you never feel fear. It means fear no longer gets the final word. There will be moments when the old voice returns, warning you that change is unsafe. That voice may be loud because it is familiar, but familiar is not always wise. The new path may feel vulnerable at first because it asks for trust. Trust is not the absence of fear. Trust is the decision to move forward with fear sitting quietly beside you, not driving the car. That decision is powerful. It rewrites your future one step at a time. The 10th law is gratitude. Gratitude does not deny your pain. It helps you notice that pain is not the only thing true about your life. Gratitude opens your eyes to what is still good, still alive, still available. It trains your heart to see possibility. A grateful person is not blind to hardship. A grateful person is anchored enough to remain open. That openness matters. It keeps bitterness from hardening you. It keeps hope from disappearing. It reminds you that the Creator has already placed gifts in your path, even while growth is still unfolding. Listen to this. One of the hardest parts of growth is that it often asks you to become less dependent on drama. Drama can make you feel alive because it is intense, but it is rarely healthy nourishment. Growth prefers steadiness. It prefers clear communication over hidden tension. It prefers honest reflection over emotional storms. It prefers movement that is slow enough to be real. If your life has been full of noise, the quiet of growth may feel strange. Do not mistake quiet for emptiness. Quiet can be the place where your deepest rebuilding happens. Your mind may resist new habits at first. That is normal. The brain loves the familiar. The heart can too. But you're not trapped by what is familiar. You can train your mind to expect peace instead of panic. You can train your body to rest instead of brace. You can train your words to heal instead of wound. Repetition is powerful. What you repeat becomes easier. What becomes easier becomes more natural. This is why discipline is one of the loving laws of growth. It gently leads you toward what your future needs most. Breathe with me for a moment. Imagine how your life shifts when discipline is no longer punishment, but care. You are not forcing yourself to suffer. You are training your life to hold more good. Sleep on time because your body deserves restoration. Move because your body deserves circulation and strength. Speak gently because your soul deserves kindness. Finish what matters because your future deserves trust. These acts may seem ordinary, but ordinary acts done with love become extraordinary over time. Growth is often the sum of many small loving decisions made when no one is applauding. The Creator has not asked you to rush your becoming. The Creator has asked you to walk honestly. Some days honesty looks like courage. Some days honesty looks like rest. Some days honesty looks like saying no. Some days honesty looks like asking for help. Do not confuse gentleness with weakness. Gentle growth is often the strongest because it does not break what it is trying to heal. It respects your limits while extending them slowly. It knows that deep roots are better than fast appearances. It builds a life that can withstand weather. There is a hidden joy in becoming someone who can be trusted with more. Trust is not just something others give you. It is something you learn to live inside of. When you keep your word, you create trust. When you tell the truth, you create trust. When you show up consistently, you create trust. When you recover honestly after failure, you create trust. This trust becomes a dwelling place. You can live in it without constant self-doubt. That dwelling place is one of the sweetest fruits of personal growth because it feels safe. Listen to this. If you have been afraid that growth will cost you your identity, consider this. Growth does not erase the real you. It uncovers the real you. It removes the habits that have covered your nature. It clears away the noise that has blurred your vision. It helps your courage emerge, your tenderness emerge, your wisdom emerge. You are not becoming less yourself. You are becoming more true to the person the Creator placed inside you from the beginning. That truth is both freeing and deeply comforting. The laws of growth are not meant to crush your spirit. They're meant to guide it. They remind you that change has structure. They remind you that healing asks for participation. They remind you that your future is not random. It can be shaped with care. You do not need to know everything. You only need to be honest with what is present right now. What needs more truth? What needs more rest? What needs more discipline? What needs more release? These questions are not heavy when answered with kindness. They are doorways. Remember this truth. A life of growth becomes more peaceful, not less, when you stop fighting what is true. You stop fighting your limits. You stop fighting your need for rest. You stop fighting your responsibility. You stop fighting the call to mature. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to simplify. You are allowed to become less dramatic and more grounded. You are allowed to build a life that feels like a refuge instead of a battlefield. That refuge is not far away. It begins the moment you stop lying to your own heart. The Creator has placed in you a capacity to learn from every season. Good seasons can teach you gratitude and stewardship. Hard seasons can teach you resilience and discernment. Quiet seasons can teach you patience and listening. Busy seasons can teach you focus and priorities. None of it is wasted if you remain awake to what it is shaping in you. Personal growth is not only about improvement. It is about awareness. It is about becoming conscious of your life so you can live it deliberately rather than accidentally. Deliberate living is a form of freedom. Sometimes growth begins when you simply decide that your current pain is not your permanent home. That decision matters. It does not solve everything, but it turns your face toward the door. It says there is somewhere else to go, something better to become, some truer way to live. That inward turning is sacred. It can happen in a bedroom, on a walk, in a journal, in a quiet prayer, in a moment of stillness. No one may see it happen, but heaven sees. And the smallest turning can become the start of a whole new life. Breathe with me for a moment. The laws of growth invite you to respect the slow work of change. Do not despise it because it lacks spectacle. Do not belittle it because no one can photograph it. Slow change often lasts because it is rooted in real understanding. Real understanding takes time. Real peace takes time. Real habits take time. Real healing takes time. That time is not your enemy. It is the space where depth is formed. If you remain patient and faithful, you will look back and realize the slow work was the strong work. Your heart deserves a life that does not constantly punish it. It deserves a life where truth is spoken with care, where boundaries are honored, where growth is welcomed, where rest is allowed, where mistakes are corrected without cruelty. That kind of life is possible. It is built one choice at a time. Choose truth. Choose patience. Choose stewardship. Choose gratitude. Choose self-respect. Choose discipline. Choose gentleness. Choose focus. Choose responsibility. These choices may feel small in the moment, but together they create a life that can hold joy without collapsing under it. Listen to this. If you've been waiting to feel ready before you begin, you may be waiting too long. Readiness often comes after action starts. A seed becomes a plant because it was planted. You do not need to feel completely fearless to take the first step. You only need enough honesty to begin. Begin with a journal entry. Begin with a conversation. Begin with one boundary. Begin with one healthier routine. Begin with one prayerful breath. The path becomes clearer as you walk it. Movement often reveals what standing still could not. The most beautiful lives are not always the easiest lives. They are often the lives that have learned how to carry weight with grace. They have learned how to tell the truth without losing tenderness. They have learned how to fail without giving up. They have learned how to wait without becoming bitter. That kind of maturity is precious. It does not call attention to itself, but it changes everything around it. It changes the way people feel in your presence. It changes the way you feel about yourself. It changes the way your future unfolds. Remember this truth. Growth is not a punishment for being behind. It is a kindness that lets you become whole. When you start to see it that way, the work becomes less heavy. You are not fixing yourself because you are broken beyond hope. You are tending to your life because it matters. You are not building character because you are unworthy. You are building character because you are worthy of a life that can stand up to pressure and still remain good. That understanding makes the journey softer, braver, and more sustainable. The Creator has given you many chances already, and none of them were wasted. Even the chances you thought you missed can become wisdom now. Even the detours can become teachers. Even the delays can become structure. Your life is not late. Your life is unfolding. Trust the unfolding. Trust the lessons. Trust the quiet insistence inside you that says keep going, keep learning, keep clearing the path, keep becoming. There is a future where these laws of growth feel less like advice and more like the natural shape of your daily life. That future is possible. So take one honest step, then another, then another. Keep your heart open to correction, open to wisdom, open to peace. Let your habits become allies instead of enemies. Let your attention become purposeful. Let your boundaries become kind and strong. Let your self-respect become non-negotiable. Let your gratitude soften your edges. Let your patience deepen your roots. Let your courage outgrow your fear. Let your life become a place where growth can live without apology and where your soul can finally breathe. If this message has touched you, take a quiet moment to reflect, pray, or connect with the divine in your own way. Let it guide your next choice. If you want more daily guidance, please like, comment, and subscribe. Keep growing. Keep listening. Keep choosing peace. Your life is still becoming, and every honest step matters with steady hope.